And I myself remember this high school and elementary school delicacy that we ate during breakfast. Do you recognize this at all? Do you recognize this
Why?
pizza at all? This is a
No.
breakfast. This is like breakfast pizza that we had here in the southeast coast.
Huh.
That's amazing.
Ugh.
Ethan said he doesn't know what it is. He's never seen it before.
No, it looks like chunks of sausage on cheese and bread, I'm guessing.
It's a real fire sauce there. And
That's
yeah, you're right. You're right. But that thing is the best thing to ever exist on this planet.
That's-
I'm gonna find it one day.
that's
All right. Okay. It's a step forward.
Hello. This is the Then and Now podcast. Guys, we have a very special guest. Hold up, the overlay's not even up. I'm tripping. Technical difficulties. Hold up, one sec.
keeping us all in. I'm editing this. I'm keeping all of it in there.
There it is.
There we go.
And now
There
our
we
special
go.
guest, Mr. Alan Maxson.
And
You can't forget.
There we
We
go.
love cats here.
here we gotta show her face off. There she is to all the
Hello,
Cat
Zero.
lovers. She may get us like an extra 2,000 views on this video.
dude. No joke.
at least we have
But
an
her-
official mascot now, Zero.
Put her in the thumbnail, be like our special guest.
Yeah.
Alan, I had a lot of difficulty trying to figure out what to even call you. When I was doing my research on your discography, it said you were a film editor. Then I went through and looked at some different things on your IMDb, and it was like, oh, he acted in this. He was a narrator for Crypt TV. I'm like, this man is a jack of all trades, and I want to be like you when I grow up. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
for the fans that may not know who you are or what you do, could you kind of briefly give us a kind of synopsis on who you are and what you do?
So you're the second person to bring up the jack of all trades comment. So I'm gonna kind of regurgitate something that I came up with off the cuff the first time that this came about. Is I'd say I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of three.
Okay.
Um,
You want to go into depth on those three trades?
my three trades are one, most well known for is I'm a creature performer. I'm trained in movement, acting, stunts, and performing non-human characters while under prosthetics and suits and motion capture. The second master would be directing. I've directed 3 films, and one of them was my most recent one, which is currently in post-production. And then my final master of trade would be editing. I've been a professional editor for television shows for about 15 years. So I have, between all of the things I've dabbled in, those 3 are my main bread and butter for not only just sustainable life, career, money, income, but those are also the things that I'm most passionate about and good at. Whereas the other things that you said you saw on IMDb, there's quite a few categories where if you look, there's like I did one here, one there, and a lot of those I didn't even put up myself. Like example, one of them was an electrician, and that was for a short film that I don't even remember the name of it. I couldn't even tell you. Maybe Blue something? I don't know. The color blue. But it was my first year in LA, and I was broke as hell. So I was on Craigslist, and I saw they needed an electrician, and I just lied. I was like, yep, I know how to do this. And I got there on set, and I'm like holding the wires, the huge cables, and I'm just like, okay, well, I know ground goes in first, so I can't electrocute myself. So, and I just like, the gaffer, the best boy, all the rest of the team were, and I had to have been 23 or 4 or something young, and all the other people in that department, the G&E crew, they were in their like 30s and 40s. They knew I had no clue what I was doing. And it was just like, a lot of things like that were just one-offs, things I'm helping with friends. I'm credited as casting director for something, and that was just helping a friend cast his film. And camera department, I've shot a couple things because I know enough how to use cameras to help people, but I would never submit for a job, or I would never be like, let me shoot your movie. You know, I would like save that for the professionals. I can edit, direct, and act. Those are my master of three. So while I have a jack of all trades, those are my main bread and butter.
What's awesome about that, the three-headed, you're essentially a three-headed beast as opposed to a jack of all trades. Segue, you literally were one of the three heads in the Godzilla King of the Monsters, Ghidorah. So
that's right.
Mind, just because you teed it up so nicely, would you mind telling us about that?
Yeah. So as most of you know, Godzilla King of the Monsters came up in 2019, and I was lucky enough to book the role of King Ghidorah. And every fight and stunt that you see on screen, every time he's walking, running, falling, leaping, landing, the battles between Ghidorah and Godzilla, we filmed that in real life with motion capture. And we had an actor for each head to give them different personalities. I was the right head, and I was angry and aggressive and full of testosterone. The center head, Jason Lyles, was the alpha. He was more stern, more he thought out, he made the decisions for things. There was times where his head would look at me and be like, we're going to attack now. And I'd almost snap, like, of course we're going to. What else would we do? Like, I knew this. You don't have to tell me. Almost like, a real situation of an alpha and someone who wants to be but isn't. And so the personalities really helped with things like that. And the left head was played by Richard Dorton, who was curious. He was a little bit more obedient. He obeyed. He was curious about things. He'd sniff things, lick things before he bit or attacked. And knowing these things that I kind of just mentioned, if you go back and rewatch the movie, a lot of it stands out exponentially more once you're like, oh, now I'm looking for this and I can't unsee it. And it really was a good call on Michael Daugherty's part for making the characters so unique. I thought he did a good job at wanting to give them different personalities, because in the past Godzilla movies, when we have Ghidorah, a lot of the movement for those heads are strings. There's an actor inside, or there's puppeteers, but the heads are always someone pulling on it, just sporadically. The head's going up and down at different moments. So he definitely made it come to life with that decision.
Yeah. And I remember when I saw that movie, I remember thinking this felt like, watching them, it almost seemed like I was watching Super Ego, and Id with those three personalities, those characters. Yeah.
All right. I watched that relatively recently, and I didn't make the in-depth observation on the personalities of each one, but I did notice that each had a different way of going about things. And now I got to go back and rewatch that now that you give me the breakdown on each head and it's the way it goes about things. That's great.
Before you watch it, go on YouTube and type in "creating Ghidorah," and there's a little behind the scenes thing of us in the motion capture suits mixed in with the real footage, and you'll see there's two things that you'll notice in it is you'll definitely see our faces and the expressions and how we move are those heads. There were moments when I was watching the movie for the first time where I literally I was like, whoa, I do that. I tilt my head in those ways when I do stuff. So like there's unexpected things that you see in a dragon that are definitely Alan Maxson.
Absolutely.
That's so sick.
It's got to be a surreal experience, like seeing a performance you did captured or reanimated through the eyes of like a animated character or a monster in this case. I mean, you've obviously done all kinds of monster work in the past too, but seeing it done with technology involved to bring it to life, it's got to be insane. I couldn't imagine what that's like.
Well, absolutely, because most of the characters I play are practical. So when you see a performance on the screen, that's 100% me. I look different because there's makeup or a suit or something covering me, but the performance, the expression, the tone in my voice, when I watch it, I go, oh yeah, of course that's what I did, because that's me under there. When it was Godzilla, though, it was surreal because I understand the process. I understand the process of filmmaking and post-production, and I know hundreds of VFX artists tweaked us, changed things, altered stuff, and that's just the process for anything. You know, even things like Planet of the Apes or Gollum for Lord of the Rings, even though what they performed is heavily there on screen, there's a lot of tweaking in post. Yeah. And so when I saw the final film and I saw how much of me was actually in it, I was just like, that's awesome. It was cool to know that my performance was not just for nothing. They took stuff from it for sure.
You're living every guy's inner child dream and becoming a monster. Everybody plays a monster with friends or siblings growing up. How did you get into creature acting, and did you do any kind of formal training beforehand, or is it something that kind of came to you naturally? Or can you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, so I guess, you know, like most actors, I've been performing almost my whole life. I think I started doing plays and musicals in high school, probably like 8th grade, and then I just continued on. When I first moved to Los Angeles, I think I took a couple jobs here and there, things that if it was someone I knew and they're like, hey, do you want to be a zombie in this? I was like, sure, it sounds like fun. But I never took acting in Los Angeles my first few years serious as a profession. I was too busy getting my feet on the ground in post-production, because I was like, my number one priority is I need to eat. Right. So I was like, there's no time to play. I have to have a career. I have to have a job. I have to have income. And so I focused extremely hard on that in post-production for probably the first 5 or 6 years, while dabbling in, you know, just performing on the side, or, you know, it's when you're a performer, it's always in you, even if you're not doing it. And then around that 5 or 6 year mark, I had a moment of, I gotta get back to what I love. I gotta get back to being creative, doing something that I'm extremely proud of. Like, I know I'm a good editor. I'm proud of the fact that I can do it and that it makes me stronger in directing and acting. But there's something much more proud to me personally as a performer and a director. And so when I was thinking about, I need to have something more fulfilling to myself, I did a lot of soul searching, and I decided to go back to the roots of, you know, where I came from, which was having fun, playing. But I also knew I wanted to be specific to something I loved, because I've always loved creatures, I've always loved monsters, and I don't think I ever desired to seek out being an actor as a human character. Like, I'm not opposed to it. I've done it before, but it wasn't something I craved. And so I thought to myself, I was like, well, if I already have a career and I'm going to try to make this career change, I'm going for gold. What's the greatest thing I can ever imagine? And it's like you said, it's like the dream. It's like being a monster, pretending to be a monster. Because when I watch movies, and most people are like this, is you don't go, oh, you know, Luke and Han are cool. No, you go, Jabba the Hutt is badass. Boba Fett is badass. Like, those are the characters that stand out. I mean, same with like aliens. Like, yeah, we all love Ripley, she's great, but really it's the xenomorphs. Like, you don't go out and buy Sigourney Weaver action figures, you know, you buy the alien. Right. So that was where my passion was, and that's kind of the path I took. And I started just getting back into it, and picking up training and doing all the things I needed to get my foot in the doors, and just slowly snowballed and ran with it.
Absolutely.
Now, we discussed obviously a big major motion picture in Godzilla. There is a movie that you took a part in. I need you to narrow down what role it was specifically, because I couldn't find exactly what it was. Called Evil Bong. Now, I myself saw this movie a long time ago before I ever dabbled in the cannabis at all. I don't know how I found it or how I got to it, but I watched it and died laughing the entire time. what was your involvement in the movie, and how did you get to partake in this movie at all?
So, I'm actually in Evil Bong 4, 5, 6, and 7.
Jesus.
Or that many sequels? Oh my god!
Hey,
Maybe not 4. I don't remember. I don't remember if I'm in 4 or not, but I'm in the later ones. And what I play is the Gingerdeadman's mouth. So there's another franchise called the Gingerdeadman, and the character is played by Gary Busey. But I believe he only played him in the first one. They ended up having, I think, 4 or 5 sequels to that. And then eventually his universe crossed over with Evil Bong. And so the Gingerdeadman came into the Evil Bong universe. And what they do for that character is he's a puppet on set. So there's a puppeteer bouncing around. There's an actor who's played the voice that I'm assuming was cast when Gary Busey left because he sounds enough like him. But they needed someone who could perform the mouth movements on the puppet so that it looked, real. And the way I got that was actually a friend of Ethan's as well. We have a mutual friend, John Lachago. He's a filmmaker who works with Full Moon a lot, and he hired me on that. That might have been... Oh man, I don't remember. No, I did Feast of Fear with John, and then he brought me on afterwards, I believe for one of the Evil Bongs, to play the Gingerdeadman's mouth. And he said, because you're a creature performer and you know how to act through your body, he was like, you'd be perfect because they need this character to over-exaggerate the mouth and get emotion through just the lip movement. And so he hired me, brought me on. I did a few commercials for it. I did those few movies. And then now the most recent installment, The Ginger Weed Man, which is another offshoot of the same damn franchise. The Gingerdeadman comes back, but he's full-sized. So this time, I actually got to play, for the first time, the Gingerdeadman completely. I played the body, the voice, the mouth, everything. So I guess after 3 commercials and 4 movies, they finally said, fine, you can be the Gingerdeadman.
you realize you're essentially the vision, the Paul Bettany of the Evil Bong franchise, because of the first few movies in the Marvel universe, Paul Bettany just did the voice for Jarvis.
Who's Paul Bettany? Sorry, I'm not a huge Marvel follower.
No, it's we're getting real nerdy here, real nerdy. But the it's analogous because he was just in the first Iron Man movie.
Right.
Paul Bettany was just the voice of a AI system called Jarvis. And then later on down the road, he got his own body and became Vision. He actually had his own. He's in WandaVision. He's a whole character and everything.
A fan favorite character now.
Yeah. A lot of people love him.
Is he the robot guy?
Yeah, robot guy. That's what it is.
You're the Vision of the Full Moon-verse or the Evil Bong-verse. That's cool.
That's true. Yeah, he had to work his way up.
right.
That's amazing.
Cool. It was funny though, is so actually because we're talking about John Lachago, that's how I met Alan Maxson a little over 2 years ago. My very first week in LA, I met Alan on the set of.
I forgot that was your first week in LA.
What
a hell of a first week!
I drove 3,000 miles and then drove to the set. It was crazy. But I met you, and you were because you were a zombie in that movie.
A naked, your first week in LA, and you got to hang out with me bare ass naked.
I believe the first time I met you, you were pretty much naked. I shook your hand. I was like, all right, fair enough. I've made it. I finally arrived. I get to shake a zombie's hand, a naked zombie's hand. But you were great at it. You were amazing.
Thank you. So are you. That was a fun shoot. He's so friendly.
Like Alan, people don't know, Alan is very, very friendly. He was one of the most evil head of Ghidorah, and he's done all kinds of things in Crypt TV and all kinds of amazing monsters. He's a very, very friendly guy. So in between takes on set, he'd be attacking a woman in a corner, basically, as a zombie, as a naked zombie, and they say cut, and then I'm like, hey, how you doing? He'd be like all friendly. It's like, how is this possible? So it was just one of the weirdest first impressions ever, but I loved it.
It's funny you mentioned Crypt TV. I want to give a shout out to the universe. Anyone who's listening who works at Crypt TV.
Oh yeah, they do good
There's a show called what the hell is it called? Creepypasta.
Yeah,
And it's like animated shorts.
The biggest one.
And they had tons of these. I think they've had like 100 of them or more or something. And they're really well done. And each one is narrated by an actor that's basically the character in the animated short. It's that person's point of view. It's like their narration following it. And I was brought on to narrate what I was told was the very last episode of the entire series. And I was so bummed because it was fun, it was awesome, and if you go on that YouTube channel and you read the comments in that video, everybody is like, who is this guy? Where has he been all these videos? We need to bring him back. And the show's over.
Oh.
So I'm just like, some Crypt
Damn.
TV, just remember, in those comments, everybody said I was their favorite voice. You need to bring me back for more.
Of course. I mean, because I actually, not to get too inside baseball, but I think I did, because you sent me some of your voiceover works. I wanted to hire you as a villain for one of my projects.
Yeah,
I
because I did. I recorded one with you.
Yeah, you recorded. Yes, you actually did as one of the bad guys. So I think I did see that one. I believe
You did. Yep.
Yeah, because it was great. I was like, my God, because your voice again, you seem like a nice, friendly person. Your cat loves you. You're a happily married man, but that voice gave me nightmares like Pennywise for weeks. We'll have a clip. We'll definitely put a clip of it up there.
I gotta go watch that one. I haven't seen a creepypasta video in a while, but not creepypasta, Crypt TV video in a while. I was really big into them for a minute. I'm a huge horror fan. I don't know if Ethan's told you already or if it's been brought up, but I love horror and I love the work that they've done over there with stuff. I was a huge Looksy fan for a while, and they do great work. They basically, for anybody that doesn't know, they kind of established their own universe, like their kind of own MCU universe, but with horror and different monsters and things that go on in there, and it's great. They do amazing work. I can't gush about them enough. They do great stuff over there.
You know, the funny thing about them, because I was doing a little research on Crypt TV, is, you know, I'm paraphrasing, so the internet will probably tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe I read on Wikipedia that Eli Roth and a couple other people, I think the Blumhouse people, created Crypt TV for no other reason other than to get young people hooked on horror.
Yeah.
They actually don't make any money. Evidently, that channel and the whole corporation of Crypt TV, that little subdivision, loses all profits every year. The whole point of it is it's just like Camel Joe. The first one's free. They get you watching it, but then, oh wait, I saw a commercial for this new Blumhouse movie at the movie theater. I'm gonna buy a ticket. Supposedly, that's the whole reason that it exists. Is not to make money, but just to sell tickets to their bigger stuff.
Which is obviously happening. Which is
works.
That's YouTube too. But I think wasn't there one of the actual series within Crypt TV, wasn't that sold? Like, didn't Kristen Ritter sign a deal to do that as well? So they're making money. Obviously, it's grown much bigger than it really was. But yeah, because
everything they do is like movie cinema, like quality stuff over there. It's great. Like one thing I've noticed, I'm glad you brought that up as a horror fan, that I think we talked about it with somebody else before. I don't know if it was Danny or who it was. That people in the horror industry that work on horror, the actors, the directors, are some of the nicest people you will ever know. You play killers and murderers and rapists and all kinds of other crazy, wild stuff. And then again, like you said, you go cut, and then they're just the friendliest people ever. I don't know what about that, or what about horror attracts those kind of people, but I love the industry for that. In the genre.
Because I've noticed
what's your theory?
You know, a lot of the stuff I edit. I edit a lot of talk shows, game shows, reality type things, and the people I've worked with on things like talk shows, you know, they're supposed to be, you know, happy. We help single mothers dying of cancer and like those type of situations. Versus people in the most gory, bloody, hardcore horror movies. The people that do those talk shows that are supposed to be nice and fluffy are, a lot of them are the nastiest people. And the ones in the horror movies and stuff are the most kindest, vegan, animal loving, care about the planet. It's like, I tell you, I don't know what it is either, but you know, something about that genre, horror and sci-fi, just draws, I think, good people.
Yeah, and I think my theory, Maxson, I think I may have told you before, I believe is passion. I think that people that get into the horror and sci-fi, those genres, they're there out of an abundance of love for that genre, for the craft. So they're having fun doing what they're doing. I know I've seen you work several times. You do what you do for the pleasure. And your short film, I guess your last feature, Alien Planet, which we'll get into in a bit here. Clearly, you guys are having a blast. I talk to Eric every day after shooting, just how much fun he was having on that. So I think that's a big factor. People involved in those genre films are having fun.
Yeah.
And people that are working on sometimes on interview talk shows, and that it may be more of a job as opposed to what they want to do.
All right.
100%. And you know, there's more. And I think sometimes too, it could also be a money thing. You know, I think most talk shows probably cost more per episode than a whole budget of a giant, you know, a high studio budget horror movie. You know, I think talk shows, you look at Ellen and what other hell stupid shows, Kelly Clarkson, or what those things are. It's like they're millions of dollars. You know, so are movies, but most horror movies aren't, you know,
that expensive.
Then they're not Marvel budget.
No, not even close.
And that's why I don't know what video it was we talked about it when we debated it, but I will say it again. There will be no horror industry slander or movie genre slander as long as I'm on the show. As long as I'm here and kicking, there will be no horror slander.
Let's break this rule. What's your least favorite horror movie and why?
I don't know.
You go first, Dave. You go first.
Slander, man, slander.
I gotta go. Ethan, you take this one first because I have so many I have to go through in my head that I've seen that I'm trying to like narrow down.
But mine is very specific and it's very recent, but it's because of they had a massive budget and the director knows better, so it's Malignant. The reason I chose that is because it's James Wan who made The Conjuring 1, which is amazing, Conjuring 2, which is great as well, I think, and they had unlimited resources and time. And for them to churn that out, it's like, you can't, no, shame on you.
I think, you know, budget makes people harder on it because it's like, look at these huge movies. Like if a Star Wars movie is bad, people tear it apart because we're like, you have infinite money. Right. Whereas if, you know, Alien Planet, if people watch it and there's flubs here and there, people will probably go, yeah, but he was working with only 60 grand. That's nothing. Good job. You know, it's like the amount of budget, I think, makes people's bar at certain levels.
It raises the bar. Yeah, it'll raise the bar. That's true. That's fair.
I got it. So it's not just one movie. It's a second half in a series of movies. And we're going to bring it back to James Wan again in the second half of the Saw series. I initially loved that series so much because it was so intricately. James Wan has this thing where he makes these intricately well shot movies. Like he starts a franchise and then leaves. It doesn't come back to finish his franchise. Because the way that Saw series started off, it was so like that surprise at the end. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen this movie that came out forever ago. Right. That John Kramer was Jigsaw. That was like an amazing ending. Yeah. And the way he went about things. But near the end, it just became torture porn. Which the practical effects were interesting, but then sometimes you get later movies where they start throwing in this bad CG with it, and now the writing is all convoluted, and I'm just like, you took sequels to stuff really kind of ruins it for me, even though it's a guilty pleasure because I want to see more of it, but it just goes down in quality over time.
Sometimes they do refreshers though. Like I actually really like Spiral. Did you see that one?
I saw it. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna lie.
I saw the Chris Rock. Fresh.
Yeah. Right. I saw Chris Rock in a horror movie and I was like, ooh.
Dude, I was like, no. And he was so good. He didn't make like a lot of Chris Rock type jokes.
Right.
I think he was passionate about it. He was passionate about the franchise, so it made sense. But plus, for you, because you're in the industry, Alan, so what, with your insight, what is a horror movie that fell way below the bar for you?
See, for me, it's probably similar like what you guys said. It's when something has such a big budget. Like, I hate to say it, but I don't understand why everybody likes her.
NANI?
All right, someone here loves that movie.
We have to have a whole, literally an entire other podcast series, another channel dedicated to this conversation.
That hurt my heart.
But as our guest,
sorry.
as our well-bearded guest, please tell us why it is that does not appeal.
I'm up for critique. I will hear any
You know
critique.
my
please.
takeaway from that movie is butts.
Butts?
Fair enough. I know what you mean.
End,
I know what
like,
you mean.
Yep.
What's the payoff? A bunch of dudes bending over, pointing at the camera.
Fair. that is the ultimate payoff. Kind of.
That's it.
I mean, spoiler alert for Hereditary.
Right.
Yes.
You know what? I'll give you that. I feel like the build up is the great thing about that movie.
Yeah.
But then there is nothing. It just goes.
Yeah.
There isn't. It really
I'll
is.
give you that.
And that's fair. That's
You
fair.
watch it and you're like, oh, this is gonna be amazing, and butts.
It's in a treehouse of all things, which seems kind of it seems dirtier. And that's fair. Now, oh my god, so there's so many of these I want to talk to you. I know we gotta go. We have very limited time, but our co-host Danielle Moniz, she was gonna be on here, and she unfortunately she got sick, and so she couldn't join us tonight. But she said we came in to do an expose, a deep dive on Hereditary. So it's so funny that you mentioned Hereditary. We'll have to have you back for that interview.
The movie, here's to the filmmakers, the actors. The movie was well made. It's a well put together film. I think it's just I don't get all the hype. It's one of those ones where if nobody raved about it, I probably would be like, sure, it was artsy fartsy. Okay, great, it was good. But since it was like, this is the greatest thriller of all time, I was like, is it?
We'll get you back for another video to talk about it because I don't have enough time in a day.
Oh, dude, I'm just like dropping grenades, and you're just like, no.
This is what we want. We actually like this kind of discourse. That's the whole basis of this. But we have to, before we let you go, though, because obviously Alien Planet, the last big feature film you worked on. So if you could please tell the audience what that's about. I know you got that crowdfunded yourself. You directed it yourself. I think you wrote it yourself too.
Yeah.
So please just go ahead and tell us about that a little bit while you can.
Absolutely. So Alien Planet is a passion project that I conceptualized a very long time ago. I think I started thinking about it maybe 2017, 2018-ish. Basically, I wanted to make my version of what would be almost like Star Wars meets Enemy Mine. Enemy Mine is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Louis Gossett Jr. Yeah.
Yep, Louis Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid, if people out there haven't seen it, because it's not the most well-known movie. Like, it was a few decades ago, but a lot of people in modern day don't know it, so watch it because it's fucking phenomenal. I wanted to make my version of it because those are my favorite kind of science fiction films. Things that have social commentary, things like V, Alien Nation, Enemy Mine, anything that basically you look at and you watch it and you go, that's not fair to the other aliens, but really it's about humanity. Right. Look at the real world, and it's one, and I love it because it makes people think. And if it's someone who is, resistant to thinking about those kind of things, and as we learned in 2020, there's a lot of those people in this world. They just refuse to put themselves in other people's shoes. And movies like that force people to do it without realizing it. And one day, I'm hoping someone who wouldn't have thought of stuff, movies like that can make them go, oh shit, that's just like in that movie. That's not cool. And maybe it can help change the world or just make it slightly more better. And so I conceptualized this type of film. And I wanted to make it, but I knew it would cost a lot of money because of all the prosthetics and makeup. So I took a detour and I made a short film called Patina first to basically have a proof of concept that I can make a final product that's good. And it's a 10-minute film, and I think it's good. I made it for a total of $5,000, so it's a very small budget, but we did a lot with what we had. And then the pandemic hit, and my wife got laid off. I didn't have any work for a long time because all of Hollywood dried up. So I was like, I'm treating this like a job. I sat down 8 hours every day, Monday through Friday, and I wrote this script. And I think it was like 3 or 4 months of that, and the script was done. So I went out, and it was at the end of 2020, we shot a Spec trailer. And I went out and I basically wrote a trailer, made the exact shots I need. And in one day, we filmed it. I cut it together, and then at the top of 2021, I opened an Indiegogo and pitched it and said, here's the movie, here's what we can do with very little money, here's what we could do with a lot. And luckily, 425 people agreed and helped and gave donations, which I believe, Ethan, you're one of them too. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And it was just, amazing to see that many people who have faith in me creating something. And so we got the money. I hired all the people. We made the prosthetics. We made all the stuff we needed to get to go. And we wrapped filming November 17th was our last day. And so now I'm just in post-production, just editing it. And I'm hoping it'll be released, hopefully, by end of this year.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And let that serve as a tale, as a kind of an object lesson for all of you out there, that if you think you can't get it done, there's always a way. If you have the desire to do it, there's nothing to stop you. Go ahead and try. And that's an amazing story, Alan.
Thank you.
That warms my heart.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. It warms my heart. Go ahead. My bad.
Thank you.
Quick little comment.
You mentioned, Ethan, if anyone feels discouraged or not sure if they can do something, and you said there's always a way, I would just like to hit that home more, because I know someone would look at my campaign and go, well, you raised $67,000. Not everybody can raise that, and I know that for a fact, because that took a lot of goddamn work to raise that money. And I've helped a handful of people since, and I haven't seen anyone raise that much that I've helped, so I don't know if it was just a specific concept people loved, if it was me, a combo of the two, whatever it was, all the stars aligned. So I want to tell people, if you can't raise that kind of money, the thing that you can do anyways is you can just adjust your budget to whatever you make, because I had a plan with, if I didn't raise that amount, I had a plan to step my script down all the way to I could make this whole movie for $5,000. I was like, bare worst case scenario, I can still make it this way. So, like you said, Ethan, there's always a way. So even if you have $0, I made my first feature for $1,000, and that's nothing. Like a movie made for that much is fucking nothing. But you can just do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you said you had a trailer for the movie done, right? Already? Is it out anywhere on YouTube anywhere?
There's a Spec trailer for Alien Planet. So if you
because I saw it when you showed it to me to actually for the campaign that was on there to donate to.
Yep. But if you go to alienplanetfilm.com, the trailer's on there.
And we'll have it up in this. We'll put a clip of it if we are allowed. We'll put a clip of it in here.
Absolutely.
Honestly, I thought about doing a reaction trailer to it, but you already seen it, so we can't even. Well, I can react to it, but you can't. You already seen it.
I'll still do reaction to it.
I want to see this film. I want to see this movie. I don't know how to see it.
I want to go to a big premiere. Yeah, I want to see this. Yeah, because I know a few people in that movie too. So yeah.
I'm locking in. We'll review this movie when it comes out. We'll do it. We do movie reviews here, and we don't. I don't think we've done. Have we done a horror movie review on here at all? Yeah,
kind of Malignant, but that was before.
That wasn't even a full review though. That wasn't even
a full review.
So we gotta. I love horror. I'm the editor here. I'm pulling my big boy card on this one. We gotta do it.
Yeah, we'll definitely do this one. And we could do, if you're up for it, Alan, of course, is have you back after we've seen it to discuss.
Absolutely, I'd love to talk about it, and when we do that, let's pick a day where we can let's go for 2 hours. We'll just chat.
Hey. You'd be the first time we actually got to talk to director, writer about their work. That we got to see a full feature film that they've done. That's that's amazing. That'd be great.
Look, dude, count me in.
That's
Absolutely.
why I love doing this. We've spoken to different comic book creators about stuff. Like me as a nerd and a fan of stuff, me getting to talk to people that created the stuff I nerd out on is a blessing and a dream come true for me. So I love, especially in one of the genres I love. Oh man, I can't wait to do this. I want to fast forward to the end of the year so I can do this.
Absolutely.
Al, we won't keep you all night because I will go all night long talking to you about different things. But is there any
whatever
other?
you have left on your list, save it for when we come back for Alien
Yeah.
Planet.
Oh yeah, I got questions for days. Trust me.
Yeah,
But,
there's two big ones on mine, but we have the two big ones, but we'll get to that next time.
Right. You plug Alien Planet. Are there any other projects you worked on or currently working on you want to plug before you leave?
I think Alien Planet is the main one for right now. There's a couple projects I have up my sleeves, but I can't really chat about them just yet. But yeah, Alien Planet, I'm very excited for. You know, it's a movie that means a lot to me, and I put in a lot of work, so I can't wait for everyone to watch it. Whether people like it or not, I don't care. Just watch it.
Right.
And we'll put links to the website in the description. Could you tell people where they can find you? Any social media you may have that people can find you on?
Yeah, Monster Maxson is my social media for all the platforms. Ethan has me too, so if you need, also feel free to just message me. I'll text it to you.
Yeah, we'll put all his links and stuff in there, and all the links to the movies he has, Alien Planet especially coming up as well. He's got a bunch.
Yeah.
His IMDb is literally like a tome, but we'll narrow some things down for you.
It's gonna be
It's
fun.
literally the Bible. I was trying to come through that thing. I was like, I don't have enough hours. I don't have enough time.
There's not enough. And also, Alan has his upcoming series, The Adventures of Zira, the Super Cat. So if you can check that out, it'll be on HBO Max.
Oh, I can't
Yeah,
wait.
you guys want to say goodbye to the sleepyhead?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're getting him in there. I'm getting him in the thumbnail.
Yes.
Oh, he's out. He's out like a
Done.
lion.
She is done. That's our mascot right there. She's done.
So she is, her name's Zira. She's named after my favorite movie franchise, Planet of the Apes.
The original
Yep.
franchise. Yeah, not the
Zira
Yeah.
is the chimpanzee scientist
Yes.
played by
I
Kim
remember.
Hunter.
She was great.
So that's her.
Awesome.
Oh, man. Well, we're closing out here. Alan, thank you so much for coming on and talking to us. You're probably one of my favorite girls that we've heard here, but I'm on. I don't want Chuck to be mad at me.
or Danielle, who's our
Or
co-host.
Danielle, yeah, but that's tough. You and Danielle, because I love horror, and I got two people that love. That's tough. That's tough.
We'll have to have them on at the same time when we watch Alien or talk about Alien Planet.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because actually, Danielle will. I mean, you met her before. You know Danielle. She would definitely be on here for that.
Oh,
For sure.
Danielle
She's a
from
makeup-
13?
Yes, she's a special. Yes, she's a special effects makeup artist. Yeah.
She's
Mm.
great.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She has her own little series on the channel that we do with her that I edit. And I didn't even get to any of the editing questions. Oh my god!
I know.
No,
We
we'll save it for
have
next
to-
time.
We have to. We said 30 minutes. It's already at 45. We gotta
I
let
know,
them go.
I
We
know.
gotta let them go. We gotta let them go.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This has been another episode and interview of the In and Out podcast. We will see you guys next time. And I think by the end of the night we'll have the review on the Matrix up. So that's something else you guys can look forward to.
This will matter because the time is
Oh, this
different.
Right. It is what it is. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye, everyone.